The next speaker is Tomasz. He works at Software Mansion. He also works on Expo full-time. I can't even, he's done too many great projects at Expo to even name them. And similarly, he's going to talk about a lot of different projects that are going on in the community and some different news that maybe people should be aware of. And yeah, I'll let him go ahead with that.
Okay, so hello everyone. I'm Tomasz. I'm a software developer in Software Mansion for almost 4 years. I'm also working in Expo team in Poland for almost a year and a half. And I'm mostly working on SDK things in Expo. And so here's my Twitter if you want to follow me. And today we've had some technical talks so far. So this talk actually will not be so much technical as the previous one. So I'm going to go through some tweets from last month, from React Native world, from some community profiles and some other developers. So at the end of February, Expo announced the new way that you can use, how you can use Expo modules. So now you can use Expo universal modules that we will call uni modules in your bare React Native applications. So you don't need to use Expo client, you don't need to even use Expo. You can just use Expo universal modules in your React Native applications. I think this is pretty good way for people that don't like Expo or have some, or they think that there are some disadvantages of using Expo. And also, we prepared a demo and another adapter for Flutter. So these universal modules can be used also in Flutter environment. But actually, it was just an experiment to make such adapter for uni modules. So we're actually not going this way right now because we still love React Native. So it was, as I said, just an experiment. Then at the beginning of March, React Native posted on their blog a post about React Native open source. So in November, they planned a milestone to reduce the number of issues in React Native repository and to introduce a new project called Ringcore, which is to remove some stuff from the main repository of React Native and move them to another repositories that will be owned and maintained by community members. So actually the main repository will be linear. Yeah. And then we also have an update of React Native gesture handler. And this update was really exciting stuff because it introduced an experimental support for web, which is something that Evan was also talking about in his talk. And also it supports on new overflow with visible support for Android and some other bug fixes and improvements. Then Satya asked us, have you grabbed the new version of React Native tab view yet? And yeah, if you haven't done it yet, I think you should, because this new update for this library now was rewritten to use React Native Reanimated and React Native Gesture Handler in order to fix a lot of bugs and make some improvements in performance. So actually, as always, using these two libraries, I mean Gesture Handler and Reanimated, solves a lot of problems in main components and so on. Then we've got another update from CallStack. So they released a new version of React Native testing library. Actually, I haven't used this library before I saw this tweet, and I also didn't know about it. But it's awesome for me, and I think this is pretty useful for people that would like to test their components. Like it also supports shallow and deep rendering, so you can like use it pretty easily and render some things in React and then just test how things works. Okay, then React Native community announced a new version of React Native. It's a 59 version. So this version is intended to work with React 60.8, which supports hooks. I'm not going to tell you what hooks are because I think you should know it already. But if you don't know, I can just say that it's something that allows you to write truly functional, classless, but still stateful components. And it's pretty fine feature in React. And I think I recommend you to play with it. And also this new version contains new JavaScript core. This new JavaScript core allows us to build 64-bit applications. It's pretty important because starting from August, you will not be able to submit new application or an update to existing application without 64-bit support. So as of August, you will need 64-bit binaries in order to submit a new update or new application. Also, this new JavaScript core contains, actually improves performance of your JavaScript code. The old version of JavaScript core was from 2013, so holy shit, it was pretty old. So you were not able to use some new features that were added to JavaScript since that time. So for example, you were not able to use proxy objects, and now it will be possible. We also did some benchmarks, and yeah, it's going pretty faster. Also, I already talked about Ringcore project. So this new version of React Native already deprecated some components and modules, like async storage, image store, masked view, net info, slider, and view pager. So if you were using some of this, you will need to move to separate repositories where they are now. Because these modules will be removed from React Native in the future release. Also, it contains some CLI improvements. So there was a lot of pull requests that were merged in the new repository for CLI, for React Native. And this new CLI has a better formatting and a pretty big performance boost. So something that previously took like 2 seconds now can take like 200 milliseconds. So it's pretty good. Okay, then my friend from Software Mansion, Michał, released a completely new library. It's React Native reanimated bottom sheet. So, as the name suggests, it's bottom sheet that uses reanimated. So it's something that you may already seen in some map applications on Apple Maps or Google. It's imitating native bottom sheet, just like on the left video. It's a highly configurable component, so I recommend you to use it if you need something like that. And also because it uses reanimated, it was really easy to achieve 60 frames per second animations. And of course, it works with Expo because from the native side, it uses only reanimated and gesture handler, which are already included in Expo. Okay, so then a team of maintainers from React Native started a marathon of that it was going to close as many issues as possible. They started from like 670 issues, and they finished in like 410 issues, and I think it's still around this number. So yeah, they closed more than 200 issues. And so they reduced that number to a manageable state. And then they met in London to work together. And mostly, one of the most important things they did during that meeting in London is the automatic installation and linking of native modules. So you will not longer need to link or even run React Native link command, because this will be automatically linked at build time. So there is a Gradle and CocoaPod script that automatically detects what native modules you have in your node modules, and then it automatically links and installs native modules. Then on March 20, there was a release of experimental release, or actually a release of experimental support for web in Expo, as Evan already told in his talk. And yeah, I think actually Evan said everything about that. Then another thing that I really like is, actually it's not related to React Native, but it's related to React, but this feature is also going to work with React Native. So people were often requested to React team for a way to log warnings that include a stack of components that caused the log. So something like this will do such log with a stack of components. So we can easily test some stuff in React. And it's also this will not send any logs in production. So these logs will work only in development. Okay, then Fran announced that React Native Pepper just reached 3,000 of GitHub stars. I think React Native Pepper is pretty nice library for material design. And I think it contains a lot of different components that you may use in your applications. And these components are actually high quality, so I really recommend it to use. And if you haven't give a star to the repository, you can do it. And also Ferran is there at the conference, so you can say hi to him and say how you use React Native paper. And just a fresh news that they will also announce that there is a new landing page for React Native paper. Okay, and the last one and the most recent one is that the App.js conference has started. If you didn't know that already, I'm just saying it to you, because I still don't believe. So thanks for listening. And yeah, see you at the party and have fun.